create? This creates a world where the film industry will allocate a disproportionate amount of their budgets, amount of their marketing and cinema space into something that is already deemed successful, something that has already been run by influential and affluent directors, giving no opportunities for the small and emerging artists. Now, moving on, to the stakeholder analysis. So right now, what is the incentive then of these like established sort of companies? So at the end of the day, these established companies are profit incentivized. Yes, they're an art industry. However, through like Disney and where they've like tried to make remakes through like Little Mermaid, where they've tried to tap into the diversity part of filmmaking, but however, that has just proven how they have failed. So this just proves that these monies, they just want to tap into what society deems as a trend. And this is clearly a fail because they've lost a lot of money in the case of doing so, which further proves why I think companies are still profit incentivized. And secondly, it is not by creative value anymore, which I will further explain in my arguments. Now, in terms of, moving on to my stance. So essentially, our team, we regret the dominance of these sequels and remakes, and we think it does more harm than good to creativity, opportunity, and cultural value. So then, what is these mechanisms of prioritizing sequels? So first of all, these studios, they will reuse existing characters, plots, and worlds. And essentially, risk-taking right now is going to be something foreign. It's going to be something discouraged. So essentially, why do these big companies then do so? Because they only rely on brand recognition, and they're going to water down or just milk out of certain original films that initially did really well. And essentially, what this does, it just stretches the the creative aspect of the film. And secondly, they choose familiarity because they know that's what's going to give them the bag. And last but not least, creativity becomes critical. So now, why is this bad? Because right now in status quo, society hates predictability, and this can be shown like recently, like even though this is not a sequel, but like Stranger Things, how people are people are hating on the final season of Stranger Things just because of how predictable the ending was. And this just shows like people are willing to give backlash, even though this is like already an influential and like famous film. Okay, essentially now moving on to my first argument. So resources are very limited for these emerging creators because now there will be a disproportionate amount of attention, disproportionate amount of resources given towards these bigger sequels because now they will have bigger budgets as compared to these original films. So basically, now successful original ideas will now be sidelined. So now, why will this lose on their case? Because, for example, independent filmmakers will not have a voice anymore because now you're prioritizing the sequels over original ideas, and therefore you're prioritizing directors that have already been in the film industry so long, and you're probably ignoring and sidelining the younger voices that are trying to emerge. So right now moving on to another layer of analysis under my first argument, a new wave of underrepresentation soon is going to come. Because let's say I take films like Marvel films like Spider-Man, for example, you're going to see the same white boy over and over again because you're going to make like sequels and remakes and you're going to milk out of like the Marvel fan base. And now you're going to have underrepresentation because obviously they're not going to change Spider-Man into like a black man or a because they know of the backlash that comes from it. And therefore, this is where underrepresentation and culture, which usually come from very small minority or like emerging like film characters. And now I've already showed how these very like original ideas coming from film characters will then be sidelined. Okay, now, even though I only have 1 minute left, I'll move on to my rebuttals. So, side government has come up here with nostalgia. So, you need to understand that when you have nostalgia and you milk the hell out of it, the quality will decline when these stories are stretched. And you need to understand that nostalgia does not directly correlate to explain good storytelling. So, right now in status quo, people are willing to like, for example, like Substack, which is like a really famous app, or like Letterbox, where people are recommending new and underground films. Because right now in status quo, we're looking for good storytelling, and we cannot milk the way out of nostalgia. And if some opposition then comes up here and says that, oh, let's say we continue remaking Spider-Man because it's going to make me money, and I don't care. I'm a big company and I want to make money. However, you need to understand that this can fail on your side, and because in status quo, our like the people in status quo are truly moving towards like a more progressive and going towards more like underground films. And okay, to talk about my stance one more last time, essentially we regret the dominance because of the disproportionate like allocation of these fundings, prioritizing of sequels also causes underrepresentation and causes original films to be sidelined. Never been harder to oppose. Thank you. So things back there. People watched it like somebody had backlash. Imagine there were no sequels at all. Then they would have faced more criticism if there were no sequel at all. Students. We should talk about independent filmmakers in the world of choice. But we are companies, they can produce themselves. They can like produce on. It's like a totally different. You know, I'm not sure. Maybe you can just start on it and I can do it. Because that's the good. Wasn't it? If it was like university and finally, and then the independent filmmakers doesn't make sense anymore. They're companies. Can I start? I will be starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. First and foremost, I would like to rebut what you said about that diversity was not very much needed or needed to be portrayed, such as what you said in Spider-Man. There is another movie of Spider where the main character is a black person. He is a black Spider-Man. That that portrayal of a black Spider-Man shows diversity, which was very much loved by many people, as it inspired children who looked like him to see that they can also be Spider-Man and not just see like a white guy and that's not them. They can't be that person. So by having diversity, it could help younger children feel that they are included in that space too, not just like a different type of skin tone, a different type of hair color like that. And also another point I would like to rebut that will be more detailedly explained by my whip is about how independent producers will not be included, like will not have a chance to like release their films. We are big corporations, not independent studios. So that is a whole separate division. So now I will be starting my argument. Our second argument is that sequels can strengthen the brand. So, for example, Disney created Mickey Mouse as their first original creation. With this, with like the original creation of Mickey Mouse, they can make it better by using better technologies and make remakes of it. Make remakes of it. So in that sense, they can make more of the same cartoon, but they can make it better and more inclusive. Like Disney has this series of Mickey Mouse where he does lots of like different adventures that can portray to children that it's very exciting. It's a new adventure for them. This is sorry. Hold on. Let me. Um, with what I just said with Disney, it gives lots of recognition to the studio as it attracts lots of loyal fans to Disney, like those like Disney adult fans that love to go to Disneyland. They see a lot of those. So like in the new like shows of Disney, they'll be like, oh, that's very exciting. They have a new Disney movie that will attract more loyal fans and also new fans that has like never seen Disney like the younger generation, like the new kids, like the new generations that needs like a new cartoon. They would love to enjoy the new things that they've been releasing. This also helps maintain studios' relevancy and dominance of like the market. For example, the Avatar sequel that just released. So loyal fans have been waiting ever since the first movie came out, like back in 2000 something, and ever since
sorry, and ever since the new movie came out, the loyal fans were very much like amazed and adored and loved it, which also attracted more new fans due to the amazing graphics and CGI by the newer technology that was developed. So this helped the studio Lightstorm, that's the studio name, gain more recognition from it. Mm, another example is just like the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The loyal 90% of the movies, like more than 30 movies, are created from sequels rather than individual movies, like Iron Man 1, 2, and 3, Thor Ragnarok, and so on. And the sequels were made from high demand rather than like making new movies in the universe. As it's a whole universe, it's very much connected, and due to high demand, sequels are made. And although it was only sequels, it generated more than $30 billion for the studios, which gained more recognition and strengthened the brand. Moving on to our third argument, which is modernization of remakes to attract a younger generation, to attract attention of younger and newer generation. So, for example, there's this. Sorry. For example, Cinderella has this new like rendition, the newest rendition of Cinderella, where Camila Cabello she portrays this like very new and upcoming person, where in the end she did not end up marrying the prince. She ended up being a dressmaker and being more independent. That can attract more fans by bringing like modernization of the moral of the story. Is that she doesn't have to be like a married a housewife or something. She can be her own independent person, which can also interpret new ideologies like feminism. So by like bringing up these like new ideologies in the movies, it can portray to like the younger generation that they don't have to be the certain thing that movies show them. They can also think out of the box and live in this new situation, like be their own person, especially for women, as that is mainly what is at stake like to these old movies. Sequels can also keep fans engaged, which like satisfies their wants and needs. Um, okay. So for an example, reinterpreting new ideologies such as like mental health. In the newest movie Inside Out, it explored mature themes like mental health. So which this is sorry, which can expose to like the younger generation to raise more awareness about mental health rather than keeping it away like the older generations did. So this can help raise awareness to ensure that the younger generation do not get any like trauma or any like mental health torn down mental health to keep it in check. Mm, with that, I end the speech. I don't want to. Here's here. Careful. Yeah, maybe. Is it, maybe it's there. I'm not here. It's not that cool. Do you want to sit here? Yeah, yeah. I think yes. That's colder. I'll be starting in three, two, one. Okay. So first of all, I would like to start off and re-emphasizing by saying that we are that the opposition, I mean, the government team is prioritizing the making of sequels and also remake of movies. And again, we are truly emphasizing on the word prioritize, where the government is leaning towards making a lot of sequels and a lot of remakes, which is creating a disproportional environment in the film industry as a whole. That is the strong argument that the opposition team is bringing out in today's debate. So, first of all, I'll be starting with all my rebuttals. So, the government team constantly spoke about nostalgia. Yeah, nostalgia is an amazing feeling that brings out the best of us, brings a lot of memories. But at a point where we try to make some changes to the sequels, like Cinderella, there was a changes made to the end. It can create the nostalgia feel is changed because we are trying to the idea of the film is completely shifted towards a different ideology. Yes, this even though the movie Cinderella didn't do well in box office because of, and it was trolled a lot because of the ideology that it was trying to push, which was trying to create feminism and create this woke ideology. But in reality, the fairy tale, the actual making of the movie was for her to marry the prince in order for them to create the ideology that a woman can stand on her own two feet. And the lesson came from that scene as a whole. And changing that plot can even destroy nostalgia as a whole. It because again, as I was saying, that nostalgia could be something beautiful, yes, but as time goes on, the true version will have a larger and a much better impact compared to the new versions that these modern cinema, these corporations are trying to push, these ideologies that they're trying to push. At the same time, in the attempt of making this all better and instilling new ideas, the new creator will actually take away the true meaning, the true idea of nostalgia. I'll be moving on to my second rebuttal, which is about how financial security was talked about by the government team. Yes, money is a very important factor when it comes to big corporations like DreamWorks Studios. Yes, but again, we also should understand that as independent film companies do not have the allocation, they do not have enough amount of money in order for them to support these new ideas of these new creators and new talents that are coming up. Yes, I'll take the period.
Yeah, coming in on again. We are the government, very representing big production companies and not individuals. We are not stopping individuals from bringing on their new films to the market or
Yes.
for their own allocation. It's our company, our own ideology.
Yes, I understand that. Yes, but we should also understand that cinema is an industry that should be shared among a lot of people, and and big corporations should also be able to support these creators who bring out these new ideas, these new talents, and new ideologies, because these creators have these new ideologies that should new messages that should be given to the people, but it is being limited by these big corporations because they're trying to push these sequels and these new remakes into the market, and people will have the tendency to go watch these movies and buy tickets. Yes, it's going to be making money, but how far is it going to bring the cinema industry as a whole? Because as we all have to understand, cinema it should not always be about predictability. It should be about new ideologies, new concepts. But let's take Iron Man's no, thank you. We'll take the Iron Man sequel, for example. Yeah, it's the same ideology that you're trying to push, which is heroism. But there could be other ideologies in this modern era that could be brought out to this world by independent creators, and they are not being supported because new directors, for instance, their stories, their ideas are being sidelined because these big corporations want to keep the ideas going on forever and ever. And these new ideas will not reach the audience at all, and this will impact the society as a whole, and the younger generation as a whole as well, because their minds will be stuck to this one constant thinking, one constant ideologies that these sequels have. Because again, the sequels will create a stagnant industry. The cinema industry should be something that is creative, something that should inspire people, that should educate people, and it should not always be about money. And I would like the government to consider that as well. And we humans always love something new, new things to come out on this world, rather than repetitive ideas that we already have with these sequels. And yes, with the POI that was brought by the government team, money is a very crucial element. Yes, and these big corporations have the ability to do whatever they want. And let's take, for instance, they could steal ideas from small companies, and they could make it into a big production, which will affect the credibility of the company and these creators who make these films as well. Think about it for a moment. Those who produce short films, this will also bring out copyright issues. This will bring out a lot of creator ownership will also be disregarded, because their ideas could not be respected and could not be improved and could not reach the audience.
We're going out of touch because we are not stealing ideas from independent movie makers or young movie makers. We are all about making sequels and remakes of our own production.
Yes.
So we are not stealing stage, we're not stealing the spotlight as well as the idea and plot.
Yes, I'm just saying that you are limiting the spotlight. You are limiting the ability. You're limiting the stage that their ideas could be shared in the big screens as well. Imagine two films being released at the same time, one by this big corporation, one by an independent creator. What movies these people would the general audience like to watch? They would go for the film that has the sequel, in the attempt of spreading this nostalgia. They would go and watch these kinds of movies rather than supporting these independent companies who are actually trying to bring out a revolution in the field of cinema as a whole. We are limiting creativity if we support if we continuously prioritize in the making of sequels and remakes, because again, the beauty of cinema will be ruined as a whole if we continue to support this. And that will be all from me. Thank you.
Diha, you okay? Okay, we got you back. So I would like to start my speech in three, two, one. So as the third speaker, I would like to start with the rebuttals first. First, I would like to start on our second speaker's rebuttal, which was about nostalgia. She did mention that new narrative towards the movie is going to spoil the nostalgicness, that it's gonna spoil the whole nostalgia. But I feel like that also contradicts with her third point, which is about new ideology. Her third point was about bringing new ideology, saying that uh, having milking the same topics again and again, it's not going to deliver any new ideologies. But isn't that what the whole remake thing is about? Like, you bring new ideas, you change the ideology, you make it something that's more suitable to the current generation, and that is what's going to bring in the new ideology into the same old, and that's what's going to bring the new narrative towards the movie. For example, let's take a look at The Mermaid. Okay, so this movie, let's talk about the older version, where the mermaid, she'll lose her voice to the witch so that she can get a pair of legs, so that just because she can go and live on with the prince. Do you think that scenario is suitable for current generation, this current life? Not at all. Nobody wants to lose their voice for a pair of legs just so they can go back to the land and live with the prince. So that's why we have a new narrative. That's why we have a new point of view for.
Can I again, what I was trying to say is that we want these stories to be said, told as the way they are, so the lessons could be learned in from these stories rather than pushing those ideas. It could be learned indirectly rather than pushing these ideologies like feminism, because it's something that should be learned from these values that are taught from our Disney's tales since we were young. That's it.
Understand. But we also have to take note that all these ideologies we have right now, like the voice we have for mental health, the voice we have for feminism, has not been there since day one. As humans, we have evolved our ideology. Our ideology has changed. We have evolved, and we have improved. So I feel like that should be brought back to what we've seen when we were kids. Those times these ideologies were not as preached as how they were right now. So if we bring in more new ideologies, more movies right now, what happens to the old movies that we used to watch? They used to give a different lesson. They used to preach different ideology. So are we just gonna leave them back there? No, that's not what we're going to do. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to educate the younger generation our way, the way how we got famous, the way how we built our own fan base. So we bring back that movies into the current generation, and we bring our new ideology into the movies, so it's also suitable for the current generation, for our young audience, as well as having our pre-established name, keeping our brand alive. So that's what we are trying to focus here. And at the same time, I would like to, um, yeah, talk about my second speaker's point, which was about, which is also connected to nostalgia. Like, for example, you go to the theater to watch a remake of an old movie that you have watched when you were younger, and that time you're already a parent. So the parent is bringing their child to the theater to watch this movie when the movie that she watched when she was younger. But now it's something new with new CGI, new animations, according to the new technology. So I feel like it will bring a bond between the parent and the child, because the mother is watching the parent is watching their child enjoying the movie that she used to enjoy when she was younger. So I feel like that will bring a new set of nostalgic feeling, a new set of bond between the children and the parent. And at the same time, again, it's bringing on new ideology. We never knew, maybe the mother, the parent would have felt like really not satisfied with the ending, the satisfied the movie was carried on back then. But right now, it all has changed. The view, the ideology has changed. She would really feel really proud looking at the new variation of the movie that she used to watch when she was younger.
Different people have different ideologies. So are we just going to cater the ideology of a specific individual's ending for every single movie? Like, for example, the first Cinderella movie, okay, Cinderella ends up marrying the Prince Charming. The next one, what, Cinderella dies. The third one, Cinderella finds someone else. And as a lesbian, if I like girls, so what, in the fifth movie, do I expect Cinderella to get married to a girl? So instead of just creating new variations, why don't I create new movies, new princesses that can showcase that? What is your opinion on this?
So you can always cast new movies. You can always cast you can bring on new movies, and you can bring on new sequels with the different ideologies. But it's not the same as seeing the same princess that you used to see when you were younger, or the same princess that you're used to seeing them with new in this new ideology. So what exactly is the difference? Like you're gonna start a whole new movie, a whole new fan base from scratch just to preach your new ideology? Okay, let's just go back to the point that our op made, which was about loud. Okay, LGBT. All right. Okay, so we want to preach that ideology. So we want to start a whole new princess, a whole new kingdom. Try to make make name for a whole new fan base, just so that you can preach this ideology. Yes.
Okay, so are we debating on the prominence of sequels and movies? We're not debating whether we should or should not do sequels or movies. What do you think about it?
We still feel that we should prioritize on sequels and making new movies, because okay, let's take a look at this. Like Stranger Things, it's a very hot topic, as well as what our prime minister, our op, our leader of the op talked about. She said the latest episode of Stranger Things did not do well and it faced a lot of backlash. Let's say there was no latest episode, there were no sequel to the Stranger Things, there were no endings. What backlash would have that production company have gotten? Wouldn't that have been even worse when the audience were not listened, the audience were not answered, the demands were not satisfied? Imagine we were more focused on making new movies, new ideologies, whole new kingdom, whole new variant, but we never really focused on what we used to have, and we didn't deliver what the fans wanted all this while. That would have been even worse. So with that, I would like to say we should support bringing the sequels. Thank you. Please take kids.
Yeah, what about this? I will begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, now imagine being stuck in the same world, reliving it over and over again with just new plots, when all you want to do is just explore new worlds and stories in a never ending voyage. Imagine eating the same fruit every day or the same fruit with a new variation like strawberry smoothies, strawberry milkshake, strawberry ice cream, strawberry this, strawberry that. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what the government side trying to prove to you. That's what they're trying to show to you. While we on the opposition side, we are trying to say, why not eat apple the next day? Why not eat a banana or a grape? Okay, so before I weigh out the clashes between the government side and the opposition side, let me rebut the points that have been given by the Prime Minister. Well, the Prime Minister stated that by creating remakes and sequels, viewers can relive the movie that they love and they get to be nostalgic. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, if they want to relive the nostalgia feeling, they can just rewatch the same movie that they have already dearly loved instead of the continuation of the movie, which there's no guarantee that it would top or be as good as the first movie. There is a reason why people say that nothing beats the original movie. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to deny that nostalgia is a very delicate feeling. A good sequel will twinkle the nostalgia in a person, but a bad sequel and a remake, it will ruin the love that the person has for the movie. It will ruin the whole nostalgic feeling and reduce the initial good quality of the movie. And this comes to the second rebuttal for the Prime Minister that I have. Well, the Prime Minister also stated that by creating sequels and remakes, it offer major studios stronger financial security because their performance is more predictable, and it comes from existing ratings and reduced financial risk. Okay, now first, talking about their performance is predictable. How predictable is it actually? Okay, just because the first movie was a hit and people loved it, they were all going all out, buying tickets, watching movies for the movie. How sure are we that the second movie will be a hit? Okay, lah. Okay, let's just say, for example, second movie is a hit. Then the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth. How much longer are you going to continue? Well, duplication over time just becomes boring and fruitless. And to talk about the point about reducing financial risk, okay, I know we have been already like cross rebutting this point about how the government side has been stating like, okay, yes, we are not trying to say that, okay, we do have the budget because as it is as okay, to quote the motion for today, well established popular production company. So they're trying to say that it's about the individual company itself, that it's our wish what we want to do because we have the money, okay, we want to do that. We're not asking all the other companies to do that. But ladies and gentlemen, these smaller and newer productions, they look up to these well-established productions. They take inspiration from this production. So um how is the face of the brand that we are trying to show to the people? That is that's important. So if bigger productions decided to take this decision to just jump on, take this big leap, what about all the new and upcoming productions?
So next, okay, I would like to rebut what has been said by the Deputy Prime Minister. She has been going on about modernization, about Cinderella's remake was portrayed better, and how about and how she also mentioned about remakes and sequels. They tend to satisfy the viewers' wants and needs. Okay, if we change the plot, it changes the originality of the movie. And ladies and gentlemen, okay, so let me just talk the Cinderella plot, for example. Now, I grew up watching Cinderella getting married to her Prince Charming, finding the love of her life. And then, so now for the new Cinderella remake, it was about Cinderella not meeting her Prince Charming, not getting married. Okay, now imagine me, like, Cinderella was my whole childhood, okay? Example, as a kid who loved Cinderella very dearly, and watching the new remake of Cinderella, knowing that the upcoming generations won't get to feel what I felt watching Cinderella, and it just ruined the whole movie experience for me entirely. And this is just speaking from a one person. There are so many people out there who love Cinderella, and in my opinion, it is better to create new Disney princesses with new different plots and new characters and storylines rather than just remaking the same old boring movies, rather than making a movie into something that is very boring. And talking about the Little Mermaid, okay, their effort was trying to portray that black girls can dream as becoming a princess too. So why not create a black princess rather than just creating the remake of Ariel into a black person? So what are we going to create next? An Indian Ariel or a Chinese Ariel? Just because we want to create variation to satisfy people's needs and wants. Talking about Indian Disney princesses, we have Princess Jasmine that people look up to, that everyone loves. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is clear why the opposition side should win today's debate, because we have been proving to you that why, if you create new movies, you would be investing your money, which you already have a lot, on generating new ideas, on fostering the creativity, so that people out there, they don't get bored of what they have been loving all this while since they grew up. When, to quote what has been said by the government side, when I go to the movie, I'm sure when everyone go to the movie with their kids in the future, they want their kids to love watching. Yes, but it's only the 6 minute, right? Yeah, yeah. Only 6 minute, right? Okay. I would want to love. I would want to watch my kid loving the same Disney princess that I love with the same plot, and not just a remake of the plot. Um. So that is why I strongly oppose the motion of today's debate, where this house, as a well established popular production, should not prioritize producing sequels and remakes. Instead, we should prioritize creating new movies. That's all for me. Thank you. No, okay. But on that day, there will be high school students, okay? Okay. Okay, give me like a few minutes. You guys may cross the floor, shake hands. Actually, like physically this time. Yay. Dihan ka nangit ko dyan. Nanti mo lagi ko iya. Diha, are you here? Yes. How are you guys feeling? You guys okay? Okay, before I go on and yeah, I just want to know what you guys understand from this motion. When you first read this motion, what is your thought process? Just like quickly. Yeah, sure. Prioritizing rules or why sequence of better. Why like in like even as the recent one original stuff. I think we should center it around like the word prioritizing. I don't know if I characterize that. So maybe it could be a mistake. Okay. We'll get into that a bit. And then what about like site gov? What were you guys thinking about doing a prep? What exactly do you understand from this motion? Done. No, you're not. Wait, wait, guys. I want to surprise. Because the thing is, we personally even felt like we support like bringing in new ideas, new businesses, and new fantasy into the industry, and not bringing bringing back the same old thing that we used to have, and also like milking, like it's just dragging it. It's like some there are really really good sequels out